This exhibition is called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Selections from the Collection of Jean and Fred Sharf. And it's a fabulous show about the art and design of transportation in the 20th century.
We came up with the idea of trying to celebrate Fred's collection, but also draw attention to the art of transportation design, which is something that people don't think about very much, particularly these days when they're being stuffed onto airplanes as if they were crosstown buses, or driving cars that look more and more generic.
There is so much interesting both engineering history, art history, and how those two come together. This is really a show about art and engineering and how that works to make the transportation modes of the 20th century. And some of my favorite pieces are in the cars, which is a lot of what I focused on in my work on this show. And the one that I often talk about is the model of a 1934 LaSalle by General Motors. And this is a piece that was designed by a man named Harley J. Earl. And Harley Earl is a fascinating man because he is considered the father of automotive style. And it was so popular and did so well that Earl was hired by GM, moved to Detroit, and established the first automotive styling department in the United States. And in many ways, the rest is automotive history.
One of my favorite things is something that actually ended up in the show very late. It's on the planes table. It's a Lockheed Constellation for Air France that has its top popped, basically. Instead of having an opaque ceiling, they put a transparent plexiglass bubble on top of the plane, following the shape that the plane actually has. And inside you can see the seats and the beds and where you're going to sit as you go across the Atlantic, probably on your first transatlantic flight in the early 1950s. So this one literally shows you what you're getting yourself into.
The train model, the 1934 Burlington Zephyr, was one of the first streamlined trains in America. And this was a time when railroad ridership was really suffering. They were losing ridership to the cars, the rise of the automobile. So they went the route of also hiring industrial designers to come in and see what they could do to boost train travel. And this again is another story of art and science working together.
When you start taking those stories apart and looking at why these things were made, you get a whole history of transportation from the beginning of an idea to the celebration of something that is no longer around.
This show is a lot of fun. There are fabulous things to see. There's probably a car or two that you've driven in your lifetime or a plane that you've ridden in, but looking at it in a new way, looking at it for its design, looking at it for its art, and really getting a chance to see the evolution of automotive styling from the 20s until the early 70s. This is one man's collection, so we're not doing the entire history, but we are giving a sense of this change in style over time.